The 1993 Waco siege usually comes to mind for disastrous federal law enforcement operations, a months-long standoff ending in massive fire and dozens of casualties. To find the source of the tactics used in Texas, we have to look back half a year earlier to an incident bringing the same federal commanders and snipers to a remote corner of Idaho. To understand the birth of the modern anti-government militia movement, we have to trace the tragic chain reaction that began on an isolated mountain ridge. This is Randy Weaver, a former Green Beret. In the 1980s, his wife Vicki began experiencing vivid, apocalyptic visions, convincing the couple that society was on the brink of collapse. To survive the end of the world, the family sold their belongings and learned to live without electricity, and built a crude cabin high up in the rugged mountains of northern Idaho. The Weavers isolated themselves, but they still interacted with the locals, including members of nearby white supremacist groups. Their extreme separatist views quickly created friction with the surrounding community. The situation boiled over because of a minor property line dispute. A frustrated neighbor lost a civil case to Weaver, had to pay a steep fine, retaliated with a fabricated tip, claiming Weaver stockpiled weapons and plotted to assassinate the president. Federal agents investigated the claim and found nothing to support the neighbor's story. But that single, vindictive lie placed a deeply paranoid family squarely on the government's radar. Hoping to turn Weaver into an informant, the ATF sent an undercover agent to buy weapons, requesting the shotgun barrels be cut down. Weaver obliged, shortening them slightly past the legal threshold. When he refused to spy, he was indicted on firearms charges. A pretrial services officer then sent a letter to the mountain cabin to update Weaver's court schedule, but they wrote down the wrong month entirely. When Weaver failed to appear in court, the judge was informed of the scheduling error but refused to withdraw the arrest warrant anyway. Weaver officially became a federal fugitive, and the case was handed to the U.S. Marshals. The Weavers were already convinced the state was actively plotting against them. A massive legal escalation over a known clerical error provided them with the proof they needed. If you're finding this breakdown of government procedure fascinating, take a second to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives. After nearly a year of surveillance, 6 heavily armed U.S. Marshals hiked up the mountain in August 1992. They split into teams to scout the property and find a way to safely arrest Weaver. To test the reaction of the family's Labrador retriever, one of the hidden federal agents threw a rock. The dog ran toward the noise, leading Weaver's 14-year-old son, Sam, straight into the Marshals. For reasons still fiercely debated, an agent shot the dog dead. Sam yelled at the men in camouflage, fired his gun, and tried to run. An agent shot the fleeing teenager in the back, killing him. Seeing the boy fall, Kevin Harris returned fire, striking and killing one of the U.S. Marshals. A surveillance team threw a rock to distract a pet. Within minutes, that minor decision escalated into a lethal firefight, trapping everyone involved in a massive, deadly standoff. The death of a federal agent triggered an FBI takeover. The Bureau deployed its hostage rescue team and issued a set of aggressive shoot-on-sight rules that had never been authorized in a domestic operation before. This overhead map shows the lethal geometry of what happened next. FBI sniper Lon Horiochi fired at Kevin Harris as he ran back into the cabin. The bullet passed through the door, severely wounding Harris, and struck Vicki Weeder inside while she held her 10-month-old daughter. Vicki died instantly. The survivors spent the next week trapped inside with the bodies of Vicki and Sam. Outside, the FBI struggled to communicate, at one point sending an automated tactical robot up to the cabin to deliver a phone, while the robot simultaneously had a shotgun pointed directly at the receiver. The stalemate only broke when the government brought in Beau Gritz, a highly decorated Vietnam veteran. Gritz walked directly up to the front door of the cabin and managed to talk Weaver down, ending the agonizing 11-day siege. The Bureau deployed snipers and heavy armor to arrest a man isolated in the woods. Their overwhelming use of force escalated a localized dispute into a multi-casualty disaster. Following congressional investigations and a massive trial, an Idaho jury cleared Randy Weaver of the original weapons charges and the murder of the Marshal. The family sued the federal government and received over $3 million in settlements. The government never officially admitted fault for the deaths on the mountain. In fact, the only official to serve prison time was a senior FBI supervisor, convicted of destroying internal documents to hinder the investigation. The intense scrutiny placed on the Bureau exposed tactical flaws. The operation, designed to dismantle a perceived domestic threat, ultimately exposed the law enforcement agencies themselves to criminal prosecution. The public outrage forced the FBI to rewrite its crisis management protocols, placing a much heavier emphasis on negotiation over immediate tactical assault. The image of a family gunned down in their own home galvanized militant organizations across the country. The standoff directly fueled the paranoia of the Branch Davidians in Waco and served as a core motivation for the Oklahoma City bombing 2 years later. We want to hear your take on this. Was the disaster at Ruby Ridge a tragic series of bureaucratic misunderstandings or a deliberate abuse of federal authority? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. The gunfire at Ruby Ridge destroyed the Weaver family and permanently fractured the American public's trust in federal law enforcement.